Good evening, everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. Senior Congress leader Ghulam Nabi Azad resigned from all party positions today. But his exit will possibly not do as much damage to the party as will his stinging resignation letter. In a 5-page long letter to the Congress interim president Sonia Gandhi, he said the Congress has lost both the will and the ability under tutelage of the coterie that runs the AICC to fight for what is right for India. He credits Sonia Gandhi for playing a stellar role during UPA 1 and 2 because she trusted leaders and delegated powers to them. But he adds, unfortunately, after the entry of Rahul Gandhi when he was appointed VP, the entire consultative mechanism was demolished. He also called Rahul immature and childish. He adds, none of the recommendations of the party conclave since the turn of the millennium have been implemented, even after the defeat in 2014 Lok Sabha elections. The letter has left the party embarrassed, but will it really trigger any introspection? Because this has happened before. This is an yearly saga for the Congress party. The reactions today also don't seem to indicate that there will be any change. A conversation with former Union Minister and another leader who dumped the Gandhis, Ashwini Kumar, is coming up shortly. But before that, let us break down how several leaders who have left the grand old party have highlighted the same reasons for doing so. Every time this happens, whether it's a young gun or a veteran, the refrain is the same. They are fed up with the leadership of the Gandhis, particularly Rahul, and sick of the sycophancy and the coterie around him. So Ghulam Nabi Azad has said, for 8 years, party foisted a non-serious person at helm. A few months ago, Kapil Sibal had said, the leadership is in cuckoo land. Some want Ghar Ki Congress. Hardik Patel, new leader, came and left. Focus was on getting chicken sandwich for Delhi leaders. Remember, this is similar to what Himanta Biswa Sarma had said. Rahul was busy feeding his dog instead of discussing key issues when he was meeting him. And recently, Jaiveer Shergill, a national spokesperson, also quit the party. He said that he tried to meet Rahul for a year, but was not welcomed in his office. But every time someone leaves, whether young or old, the explanations or the excuses from the Congress also remain the same. Look at how Congress responded to Azad's letter today. For example, when Azad says that there is a new coterie of inexperienced sycophants running the party, Ashok Gehlot said that Azad was a sycophant himself during Sanjay Gandhi's time. Ghulam Nabi Azad said that when the G23 flagged off the drift, the coterie attacked us. Jairam Ramesh today says that Ghulam Nabi Azad's DNA has been modified. Azad said party foisted a non-serious person, as I mentioned, for 8 years at the helm. Jairam's response has been that Modi's tears, Padma Bhushan and exit shows that there is a nexus with the BJP. All of this is playing out despite the fact that electoral writing is on the wall for the Congress party. They've been losing election after election over the last 8 years. 2 Lok Sabha elections lost badly. 50 assembly elections have taken place. They've lost 41 of them. They've been reduced to ruling only 2 states, that is Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh. They've also been dumped or at least given a cold shoulder in many other cases by their allies as well, to their junior partners in Jharkhand and Bihar. It's quite clear the battle lines within the party are hard and clear. In this scenario, is the Congress heading for a split, or will it continue to lose leaders in dribs and drabs? We will take that to our guests in just a bit. But first up, as I promised, listen in to former Congress veteran, former Union Minister with the UPA, Ashwini Kumar, on Azad's exit. We've heard several reactions since the news broke of Ghulam Nabi Azad's resignation and also the very stinging letter he's written. Your first response to what you've seen of that letter?
Well, I'm sad that things have come to this, but this was only to be expected. One after the other, senior leaders who have been feeling humiliated, insulted, not wanted in the party, have chosen to break ranks. And after years of dedicated service, Ghulam Nabi Azad is the latest in that edition. And I think that his letter speaks of his pain. He speaks of specific reasons that have propelled that decision. And I think nothing more can be added to it, except to say that this spells bad news, as bad as it can be, not only for the Congress party, but also for the strength of the opposition in the country, because the weakening of the Congress certainly weakens the opposition as well. But the challenge for the present leadership of the Congress is to look inwards, not only in terms of words of appeasement and placating leaders, but for concrete action that would be seen generally by the people of India as genuine attempts for the renewal of the Congress party. That is not forthcoming, that is not visible, at least for the moment. Only time will tell what happens next.
The response we get from the Congress party every time a leader leaves also is that, good riddance, that they're happy to get rid of the dead wood because they believe these people did not have the stomach for a fight.
Well, that is the most unfortunate part of the Congress way of doing things at the moment. Instead of looking inwards and asking themselves why people who have stood with the party through thick and thin, right for the last 50 years, are now leaving the Congress party. This is the tragedy of the Congress party, that instead of looking inwards, trying to correct its own mistakes and errors of judgment, it is finding fault with those who, out of a sense of conscience and out of a sense of respect for their own dignity, are now choosing not to suffer humiliation anymore. I think the basic minimum that every citizen is entitled to is to retain his own sense of dignity. And I think Ghulam Nabi Azad has done well and redeemed himself.
Sir, why are things going so horribly wrong from what you're saying in the Congress party?
Well, many things have gone horribly wrong. Some of them have been elucidated by Ghulam Nabi Azad. Others, like me, have chosen to speak through silence. But I had stated that I no longer felt possible to serve the larger causes of the nation as a member of the Congress party, because as it presently functions, it does not give us a sense of dignity. And people who are diminished by a loss of their own dignity cannot rise in the estimation of the people and cannot serve a public function. That's the essence of the grievance of senior Congress people.
Is this because of Rahul Gandhi, his coterie and his leadership style?
Well, I don't really want to comment on individuals. The thing speaks for itself. The letter of resignation of Ghulam Nabi Azad and of many others speak for themselves. I think the message is loud and clear. The writing is on the wall. Everybody knows when the decline of the Congress party started, why it started, and why we are unable to arrest that decline. I don't think anything is left in doubt, nor is there much scope for elaboration after this letter of resignation of Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad.